Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We got official reveals recently about the upcoming characters. We know that some of the big names are coming soon like Klukai, Vector, Yuhi, etc. And many people are interested in pulling for these characters since these are some of the top tier meta units per se. I am even hearing that the most recent few new CN units like Chihua, Yuhi and the current banner Nikita, they are like even better than Klukai after V6ing and stuff. But that's a discussion for another day when they are close to arriving in global. My perspective on meta in this game is usually about teams and not essentially the units itself. I want to build a couple good teams in the long run and pull for my favorites along the way. Maybe my favorites will be in those teams or maybe not, but then how can I make a good teams utilizing them, etc. So I've been looking at the best teams being used in CN for the end game recently, which is essentially Gunsmoke Frontline or the big boss fight. And I had a good idea about the topmost teams that are meta in CN and wanted to make a video on that, letting you guys know about them so that you can have some ideas when planning for future pulls. But before I went and made the video, I wanted to have some data and stats in hand to back up what I'm saying in the video. So I collected quite a few team usage statistics on the current patch in CN. That is the Nikita banner patch and the most recent Gunsmoke Frontline there. And I put these stats nicely here on this website for you guys to see clearly, as I think the visual representation helps a lot. It's not a lot of data, it's about 100 or so teams. I did that manually, so it's better than nothing, I guess. And I have to mention that this is not a tier list video. The characters' powers are not normalized. They are anything between V0 to V6, maybe with the signature weapon, maybe not. But the teams I have entered have all scored at least around 4k in the Gunsmoke Frontline. Some whale teams have scored even 6k plus. That was my only criteria. Assume that the characters are fully built here with up to at least their very first breakpoint. Like when you see Klukai here, pretty sure 99% of these Klukais are V3 plus at least, probably V6 since CN is also having her rerun now. Similarly, when you see Vector here, she is mostly V1 in all these teams and maybe with her signature weapon as well. So this is mostly a showcase of what characters and teams are being used the most. So if you are planning for future with meta in mind, then you can have a good idea on targeting future characters and which teams you want to build towards. So as you can see, Springfield and Klukai are the top two. They are really versatile. You can pretty much throw them in any team, and if you have a V6 Springfield, she will do insane DPS as well. And then you have Nikita, which is expected since this data is from her patch and we have to consider the recency bias. But she is really good and she is mostly replacing Tololo in the Hydro teams. Or people are using both Tololo and Nikita, and that Hydro team is really OP. Now we do see Peritia and Misty here in the top units, but they are exclusively used with Klukai. And that Klukai Peritia Misty core is deadly and have a really high usage rate. You can just add two other favorite units of yours with that core and it will work out. And the rest of the top units are burn units. As we can see here, this particular burn team I found had the highest usage rate. But if you see on the second and third teams here, they are also essentially the same teams, one with Nikita and the other with Tololo, and combined they have the same total usage as the burn team. So these two teams are pretty much dominating CN meta right now. I am not gonna go over all the other units and teams in this list, it will be a lot, but I did make a list containing the best teams or the team structures that I found from these stats, and I'll go over them. As we saw, both Team 1 and Team 2 are the, you can say, the top meta teams by usage rate, and they are equally OP. First one is the pure burn team. We have QJ, Vector, Sakri, Chihua and Centralisi. This exact comp has the highest usage rate, but there are some variations. I have mostly seen Sakri being replaced by Peri in some cases and Senia replacing Centralisi. The burn team has always been good since Vector released, but with Chihua's release, this one skyrocketed in usage. If you have a V6 Chihua, people are not lying, she performs even better than V6 Klukai in this team. But honestly, with only V1 Vector and Chihua, you can complete this team with the other three free units and you have one of the best teams in the game. And the second one is Hydro Corrosion. It uses the Klukai Misty Peritia core and two Hydro units. Springfield is a must here and a Hydro DPS. I put Tololo on the main team since she is easy to have and she's been the go-to choice in this team for a long time. Only on the very latest patch, Nikita has started replacing Tololo. You can even use Jahui Yuhi there as well if you like. If you are going to pull Klukai now, you might want to target this team comp in the future. It's so good. Nikita is the most recent addition and she is insane. Even at her low vertebral level, she is competing to replace a V6 Tololo. But if you don't wanna replace anyone and have them both, maybe you wanna build a full Hydro team. Okay, the main team in my full Hydro has a QJ in it. That's because this is the most prevalent 5 unit team that has mostly Hydro units that I have seen. You can also have Klukai instead of QJ there, or Sabrina. That makes it actually a full 5 Hydro team. Although you really want a DPS there and not a tank, unfortunately. So we see that the Burn and Hydro teams are really strong and popular. So what team is the next? Any guess? Yes, you are correct. It's a Burn and a Hydro hybrid team. The most popular version has 3 Burn and 2 Hydro. Honestly, Springfield plus any Hydro DPS is enough. We have seen in the Hydro Corrosion team as well. Here, instead of Corrosion core, we have a Burn core of QJ and Vector. And you can have Sarkri as the third one, but if you have already got Chihuahua, she is the better choice for sure. Now, before I move on to the teams 5, 6 and 7, the order doesn't specifically mean team 5 is better than team 7. These teams are pretty close in power levels, and only reason they are here is because they don't have the insane high usage rates as the above teams. We haven't seen any physical, electric or freeze teams yet, and honestly I'm pretty sad that almost 80 to 90% of the teams are either of the above teams, and these teams below do not have that much usage. Hopefully it will be better in global. Team 5 is the physical team. I am actually glad to see a full physical team being used in the CN endgame, and Yuhi is the reason for that. She has kinda revived the physical element. I have put these flex characters here because of course they are very meta, and if you don't want to build a full physical team or you don't have all these units, you can mix and match with the other elements. I have seen quite a few teams with the Corrosion core and Yuhi plus Faye, which seems pretty strong as well. Teams 6 and 7 are the ones with electric and freeze units. Well, a full electric or full freeze team is not really seen much in CN, if at all. It's almost always coupled with the Corrosion core. The electric units that are most used are Andoris, Belka and Mosinagant, and the freeze units that are mostly used are Macchiato, Suomi and Tusabnaya. You can choose any two from these choices and complete the team. I have also seen freeze units being combined with Hydro units a lot. Like you can build a team with Macchiato, Suomi, Tusabnaya and then throw in Tololo plus Springfield. This team does have 2 supports, but if you don't wanna have 2 supports, you can replace Suomi with Klukai or QJ and you can have a solid team there. So there you have it. These are the top meta units from the CN version of Girls Frontline 2. Whether you have a particular team in mind that you want to build or you are still planning for future, these teams should give you a solid foundation for your strategy. We are still behind CN, but the global banner orders are completely changed and we are getting some of the meta units we see here pretty early. So you can start preparing for the future with these insane team compositions in mind. Now I want to also mention this website is not public. I have built this for my own research. You see I don't have any global data here, but I might work on it more, make it better and publish it if there's interest and demand. I want to, but I don't know how I can find and track global data yet. Maybe I can make a Discord for submission of your teams. That might work, but I'll have to see in future. Anyway, that's it for now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, ring the notification bell, yada yada for more Girls Frontline 2 content. Good luck with your pulls and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.